I'm really convinced that utility will come back. And what we will now see is also in the stock market a huge speculative money. That's what we never had in the last years. And that's the only reason why the market is still working. The price doesn't really always match the fundamentals in crypto. On the one side, that's the reason why the last Alcon season failed for many retail investors who had thought, yes, okay, right, I will jump in XRP and to top 10 cryptos and then I will get a millionaire next year. It's okay, and just accept that it's maybe possible to be in the market with a lower performance and also find your place. And I think that's more fulfillment at the end. But it's hardly to do the progress on this work and working with their own strategies. And that's what I would say.
Hey and welcome everyone to the Krippenreiter TV show, our weekly series on Monday, hosted by me, Krippenreiter, and my regular co-host Vet. I'm super excited to welcome Steffi to the show, better known as MissCrypto on YouTube. For those who don't know, Steffi has already invited me to her channel many times in the past, but I always hope for her to return the favor. She is without a doubt one, if not the most trusted crypto educator out there for the German-speaking community. She talks about blockchain, altcoins, taxes, XRP, Bitcoin, wallets, and everything in between. Definitely someone worth keeping an eye on and subscribing to her channel. I will link her channel everywhere I can, so it will be impossible for you all to miss it. Steffi, welcome to the show. I hope you're doing fantastic today and you are ready for a little bit of English.
Yes, thank you for being here today and discuss with you about, I hope, a really, really interesting topic today.
Because we have a lot of people who are tuning in from all around the world, and specifically from the English-speaking side, who maybe already know, like Krippenreiter and myself. Steffi is very, very known in the German community, so I can tell you that, and she does a great job of education, all that. You might have not seen her because she does German content, so I'm even more excited to have her now today to talk with her all about XRP.
Steffi, on a scale from 1 to 10, just for you to set the record straight, basically, are you bullish right now or not? Let's say 1 is being bearish and 10 is being super bullish. What would you say are your tendencies right now?
At least long-term trip, to be honestly, I would say definitely for 10 overall. But regarding to the blockchain technology in different industries and crypto being an asset class in the future, more than new asset class in everyone's portfolio. That's why I say 10. But if you ask me about this year, I would say only maybe a 4.
Really?
In terms of price performance, maybe an 8 for institutional progress, technological progress. So that's the midterm view. Yeah. And you?
Wouldn't you say the Clarity Act is maybe something that would push you a little bit further to, let's say, that the tendency to 10? Because I really think like the Clarity Act resembles a little bit what we all know from the .com times. So it could be, I don't know actually about the price, obviously, but it feels like clarity and regulation, because Vet and I talked with Luke about it yesterday. Regulation seems to be the one big missing piece, more so than technology, actually, which would help the space to progress a little bit more and maybe capture the next step and be more successful. Don't you think that Clarity Act is important?
Yes, I think that is really important. Maybe at July we will have an answer. That's what we want to hope, and that's maybe could be one reason for a little rally in this July. It's historically a good month for crypto, so maybe they fit 2 and 2 together. What I think is on the one hand that the Clarity Act is just one part for the institutions in the US market. It's definitely the biggest market worldwide. But on the other side, we will have the Clarity Act as a pioneer work for the whole world. And this is where it lags to the other countries. So what I want, what I wish for the future would be a worldwide standardization for this asset class and technology, because then you can really overcome the missing liquidity.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at, for example, South Korea, they have historically always look what the United States is doing, and then they sort of adopted the same thing. And they're like also very slow right now with regulation and all that things. It would be a huge thing for United States, or at least in 2026, if we would get the Clarity Act signed into law. And I just looked into, I don't know, can you see that? No, it's too bright, but it's way too bright. Let me see this. Yeah, it's actually 56% right now. So almost 50-50 in poly market for 22. Yeah, 50-50, which is interesting because that means that there is, as like Steffi was like sort of expressing, there is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Will it come? Will it not come? And that uncertainty you can see in the markets too.
I think it's most the bullish event this year, because we have no halving this year. We have no retail-driven narrative for everyone this year. And something what you can explain in simple words is regulation is coming, the Clarity Act. This is something like the bull point of the whole space is looking. It's better than talking about maybe quantum risks or something like this, or cybersecurity. That's very simple to explain. Regulation is coming, institutions have the technology is built up, and now you can start. So I think that's a great storyline. If they continue in this, I think it's very bullish for crypto.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, I was just listening to other people talk in the space that if you look at what a lot of tailwind gave to crypto was like this fear of inflation. You got to hedge, get into crypto, hedge inflation, and but it didn't solve inflation really. And now it did not solve inflation, but it was sort of as the hedge. But that speculation started like from 2009 with Satoshi and when Bitcoin started. And so as Steffi was like saying, like what is the narrative like would be for people to look at the same thing? Could it be something with quantum resistance, things like that? Like it's going to be like that money that cannot be hacked, or, things like that. Because the AI narrative is right now, I think, the only thing that's really fueling the market, really.
Yeah, everyone is looking at the stock market right now.
Exactly. Like Dell was like yesterday giving sort of insights about, hey, we are getting like AI accelerated revenue streams and things like that. And it jumped like 30%. Everything AI related when news up, right?
Yeah.
Everything else, nothing.
And it's so ridiculous because when we talk about crypto all the time, we think it's the most risky asset anyway. And why are we invested in crypto? Because the upside is so gigantic. But then what we see is like we get big news like with DTCC and Stellar, for example. But what we see, Stellar moves just 20%. And then like the gigantic company like Dell is moving 30-40% out of nowhere. So it feels like there is like this huge gap between perception and value and what the price should be based on what is happening right now with the crypto market. And I have to say, it's so ridiculous to me. And it really bothers me that what we see right now is like this huge adoption of all the companies and all the institutions, like right now tokenizing on chain, using the ledger, building interoperability, building links and bridge solutions, and actually really using what we all knew is already there, but the price is not moving. What would you say? Like, what is there? What bothers you, like me, like with this gap between value and price?
I think how you say, and the fact is that the price doesn't really always match the fundamentals in crypto. On the one side, that's the reason why the last Icon season failed for many retail investors who had thought, yes, okay, right, I will jump in XRP and the top 10 cryptos, and then I will get a millionaire next year. The bull run to 2020, this was a retail-driven bull run. Then we had a retail adoption 2024, and since then, the institutions are getting in FOMO, and retail is getting bored because you said that the price performance at the stock market and the AI sector is booming. So why should I invest in a volatile asset risk on market if there's AI, which is regulated, where I can participate and get even more for my own liquidity I have right at the moment in this troubling situation we have with war and so on. So yeah, it's I always try to explain this over and over again, even to myself, to be honestly, that I need discipline, and I try to understand what the next developments will be in the future. And I'm really convinced that utility will come back. And what we now see is also in the stock market a huge speculative money. That's what we never had in the last years. And that's the only reason why the market is still working, because there's at the moment not a structural demand of AI. It's working. That's a different. But on the other side, you need to raise so much capital for this infrastructure.
True.
And so that's the only working progress you can do.
Yeah.
The market has to got higher.
Anthropic raised 60 billion, right?
Yeah, I just want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, 65 billion to 900 plus valuation, billion plus valuation.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And that's the amount of money you need to play in this league, right? You need a lot of money to play in this league. Infrastructure is very expensive. They're probably limited with compute even. They are not even getting like all the compute that they want. This is why you can see like sometimes the new models getting dumber after a while.
Yeah, true.
The compute is sort of, everybody's sharing the same compute. You have OpenAI
all the time, right? Yeah.
It's just, we don't have enough. Compute is really that scarcity right now. That the commodity that everybody like wants to have, and they cannot build enough like data centers and produce enough chips and get like all of them like going. And
that's a big fear today in the crypto market. I would say if compute is the next commodity, what will the miners do? What will the validators do? They have built infrastructure in the last years. And that's for crypto investor. If they only just jump right now at the stock market as the infrastructure provider, so what is with the crypto assets?
Right.
Are we losing a little bit of this market? So
a lot of miners have to think about it, because as a miner you have maybe you have cheap electricity, and you have maybe a warehouse and things like that. You might want to use this rather for AI, right? Because it makes like more money for you. Because at the end of the day, miners are forced stakeholders, and they look for opportunities to make money. They're opportunistic. They are not necessarily like they look for. At the end of the day, the money decides. It's not like they make this out of love for Bitcoin. It's a business. It's a business, right? It's a business, and if the business is better with AI. It's a real thing. That's a good point that Steffi brought up, actually.
Yeah.
And I think there's also a point where you can say, like, this is probably also a huge differentiator to XRPL, because XRPL don't have this problem. You can use a laptop to host your validator, right?
Talked about this, yeah.
So, Steffi, what I would like to know, because you're doing a lot of education across the whole spectrum of crypto, what would you say are like these big differentiators between, like, let's say the big three: Bitcoin, XRPL, and Ethereum, maybe even Solana, where you would say this is where hopefully XRP excels in contrast to the other three?
Yeah, how do you sort of put them?
Compare the communities.
Yeah. I'm curious.
It's a really interesting question. Let's start with the similarity, maybe.
Okay.
If you take Bitcoin and XRP, for example, they both are one of the oldest cryptocurrencies ever. So they have, in my opinion, the longest and extremely loyal communities. That's what I would say they have in common. Ethereum, if you compare that, doesn't really have that sticky, hardcore community on one place, because you have the layer 2s and the DeFi protocols, and they are shifting. So there's another community more crossed, and it's actually also a bit more boring because we have the story: institutional, tokenization, standardization, just infrastructure. And then you have Bitcoin, you have the monetary asset for the future, anti-bank, and you have XRP, it's working with the banks. So that's maybe difference. It's the difference how the strong communities spread the narratives, why they believe in these communities or in these assets. Because with Bitcoin, you have the classic buy and hold, Michael Saylor approach, because, or if we don't know, maybe he's selling sometimes. you have a clear values regarding decentralization and being scarce monetary asset. With XRP, on the other hand, you have a Ripple. Ripple is really doing so much for the progress of for XRP Ledger. You have the connection to the financial work through Ripple, focusing on topics like tokenization, RWAs, DeFi. And I think that's the difference between the communities, that you have different reasons why you are in this community, but overall, if you compare it, they have a very strong community. Solana, we talked about a small retail, trading, Web3, also more, I would say, more hip, modern, innovative, younger investors. Yeah. Meme coins.
True. There's this one thing called Lindy effect. And I think this is really something that where Bitcoin especially and XRPL also, like these two especially, they excel. Because you could say Ethereum as well, because Ethereum was also one of the early one. But I think, as you said, Steffi, with the narrative, I think because this narrative didn't die over the long term until today and also to the future, it feels like the Lindy effect, so the effect that values long-term growth is something really that is playing in favor right now for the big ones. Because the new ones that are coming, they have to not only convince the old OGs, they have also to convince the already existing participants in the ecosystem that their new solution is better. And for some reason, Hyperliquid was able to do it, but with others, we see that it's really hard. You can have the better technology, but in the end, you cannot convince the already existing participants to come over to your chain and use your chain instead, because the old chain is already known to work. It's working. Settlement is working great. You have all the primitives and features on chain that are already in use. Also, there's like proof of concepts and pilot phases from big institutions and patents, and everything is basically already proven to work. And even though maybe new chains are better in technology, as long as they are not able to convince the already existing people that their chain is not just better, but very much better, they will never win. And this is something I see is really playing in our favor right now.
And I think one of the things that is a very underrated force is time. You know, like replicating time is very hard because let's say if a chain is already out there for 12, 14, 15 years, it's hard to replicate 10, 15 years without actually 10, 15 years because there is no shortcut to time. And that's the difficulty, because when you talk to people about crypto and you ask them about Bitcoin, everybody knows Bitcoin. It's like, oh yeah, Bitcoin, I know Bitcoin, I've heard about Bitcoin. The more you move down the ladder, it's like, you know, people get, maybe they know XRP, maybe Ethereum, maybe Solana, and then it gets like very thin, you know? It's like, it gets very thin. The further down you go, it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so for me, a mental model is like always when I look at the coin market cap, the top 10 or go down, is like how much attention these coins have. The more up you are, the more attention typically you have. And the more down
how long
you
you stay. How long you stay in the top.
Exactly. True. Because everybody who's been like around for crypto for a while knows like maybe EOS or EOS and others who came into the top 10 out of the top 10.
One of the most successful ICO. Wasn't it?
I see.
For
couple billion.
$4 billion?
Couple billion dollars. Completely vanished. I know I heard that German community is very strong into IOTA, so I will not say anything bad. But it was also in 2017, like up there, right? It was like was top 5, top 6 even. You know, Steffi, as we just talked about how volatile sometimes the top 10 is, and there's like so many cryptos coming, going. Some the blue chips sort of that people would say stay. If new people come to you, maybe in your family, friends, and tell, hey, I want to get into this industry or I want to invest. What are kind of tips that you gave them, you know, to navigate the space? What kind of things that you tell them they need to expect maybe? What kind of things are you telling them?
The first thing what I try to find out is I ask some more questions, because the first problem is that someone who is asking me for advice wants a simple answer, but the person is very complex, not only the space. Because let's, for example, say the investor is a long-term investor, is wants to participate in the space and knows the risks, but he's not the active trader or somebody who's technical affin with the space. He just wants to be in the market. And I could give him maybe, let's say, a few coins where I think that they will grow in the next cycle, maybe. But the problem would be that I don't know if he would, if the investor would transfer the strategy so that he will be really have gains and something like this. So I always try to find out, okay, you know about the risks. That's the one thing. The next thing is I want to what really interests you, because if I try to talk about him about interoperability or complex DeFi strategies, I know that won't work, because first thing you have to do is education of the one side, and you have to be disciplined and interesting in the coins and what you invest. So I think that's the success is not the coin or the strategy at itself. It's the combination. Find the good strategy for this type of investor, and you have to say, okay, if you maybe so let's say if you don't have the time to be every day or to research the actual developments, maybe you will lose the high performance coins and the next wave. But it's okay, just accept that it's maybe possible to be in the market with a lower performance and also find your place. And I think that's more fulfillment at the end. But it's hardly to do the progress on this work and working with their own strategies. And that's what I would say.
Do you find a lot of people in the community to try to shortcut this? They don't want to invest time in education. They just tell me like the coins that, you know, because the education part is like, it, as you say, it needs discipline, and having discipline is a rare thing for a lot of people in society. So
right. Education is it's also very it's a how would I say, the success is not coming overnight, but with education you can to get more self-confidence in your own decisions, and you can make your own decisions. If I would decide, if I'm asked, okay, can you just tell me what I just should buy, and I say yes, this, that, maybe at the end I'm right, maybe I'm not. That's not the case. But at the end, the person won't learn the skills to do decisions in the future without me or anyone else. And that's what I always wanted to do. It's what I want to do with my with patients in the past. I always tried to educate a little bit during my therapies, because I knew that sometime if I'm not there or somebody else is not there, the best what you can do is decide for your own.
But would you say it's well, probably with Germans, it's probably very different in compared to the international field, right? I expect, for example, Germans to be more conservative in what they want to buy, in contrast to maybe US-based citizens, just in what they are willing to risk. For example, I could feel that maybe gambling is something Germans probably don't want to invest in. So probably advising them on meme coins is probably not the right way forward. They are more akin to maybe Bitcoin or XRP because the narrative is easier, and maybe because the coin is already in existence for a long time. So maybe this is something that's maybe easier if someone asks you and you don't want to give the shortcut, but the shortcut maybe is just tell them the long-standing coins, the narrative that still works, at least the narrative that they understand, and then give them a few coins and a few narratives that they maybe understand and want to invest in, and then tell them, well, this is still all theoretical and it's all high risk and you have to decide for yourself. But maybe that's the shortcut for most that are conservative. Just don't gamble. This is maybe a strategy.
You have two different kind of investors in Germany. But the most of you is how you said, if you let's say in Germany we have a lot of discussions about taxes right now. So you have in Germany still that you can buy and hold, and after 1 year you have tax-free profits after a year. So that's why the strategy is pretty cool for somebody who says, I buy and hold. It's one of the most successful strategies in the past years. So why not repeat it? So that's one reason why we had the Lindy effect, why old strategies, they were wanted to be repeat in the future. That's one thing. And the second is people value security here. That's like I would say it's an applaud. It's about education from the older generations, that you have a saving plan, insurance, and then you hear about DeFi and complex strategies, lending strategies, and you have the tax problem. So that's where you try, is it worth to spend my money in this? And on the other side, you have, for example, not the crypto ETFs, spot ETFs like in USA. So there are many innovative products with the security and the stability outside of Germany. So you have, I would say, if it's a easy access for only a narrow possibility to invest and to participate in crypto. Yeah.
Would you say we have a lot of crypto companies, startups, businesses, and so on in Germany that are crypto native, or do we lack an industry here? Because I feel like when I hear from crypto companies, they're typically elsewhere, not in Germany. How's your experience like being so involved in the German crypto community?
A similar experience. Many in the German region are in Switzerland. How is it called in English? There's the Crypto Valley.
Yes.
Yes. Here is more a thing about banks and institutions, how they integrate tokenization and deposits and something like this, but not at Web3 startup. Not at this case. I have experience in other countries. Yeah.
Maybe we should just walk into a Deutsche Bank and then say, hey, are you guys going to integrate this or not? Like, where are we here?
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
Why is that happening?
We have Ripple custody and all these products. They could use it today already, like without any technical barrier. Like Ripple is doing the one-stop shop. They could just integrate, but probably the price and what it's worth for them is probably not matching right now.
Because I don't know, like, if the international community is like aware. I think they are, but maybe not. But Germany, and specifically German finance, is very conservative, right? Like, they're very conservative.
Very conservative.
Very conservative. Like, there's no such thing as German conservatism. And
that's the regulatory framework we talked about. The Ledger Act would be one innovative pioneer work for the framework here in Germany or in Europe. MiCA regulation is again very institutional, very conservative, and exclude very important things like NFT, DeFi, the combination where I want to do something on chain. How can I regulate it? How can I do with this as a startup? What is with wrap coins and something like this? There's so many uncertain aspects for startups and for retail investors. And we have the same again. Clarity Act, where can I have rewards on stable coins? Right. This is... I think the first thing what will happen in Germany is the saving plans from the traditional banks, starting with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then we have the Lindy effect in the next few years, maybe XRP, Solana, maybe just the next ones who will stay in the market cap in the top 50 and will establish.
Germans love their savings plan. That's
But
big
Ripple
community.
Definitely. But Ripple is also working on money market funds as well. So maybe this is really conservative, low yield, low risk. Maybe this is something the Germans will love. We will see.
Maybe.
No joke.
But then you have to make a really easy access about through an app, through your bank, through a native bank or neo broker, something like this, a crypto exchange, to say, hey, you just have to, you can buy this for, you can buy this tokenized for, tokenized assets with just one click on the button, and then it's in your control. So you need a simple instruction for this onboarding. And this is really what's lagging international.
Yeah. You know, they mentioned like low risk cripping and so on with low risk, low yield. That's like David Schwartz, you know?
Yeah, boring.
Literally.
Boring yield.
He likes the pork stuff. He's a German. He has to be a German. David Schwartz is a German. No joke.
So maybe he's also Satoshi Nakamoto. We don't know.
I wouldn't say so. But we will see.
But it reminds me a lot. Maybe he is indeed a German. Give this man a schnitzel. No, but actually he's losing weight. So actually not give him because he's
he likes schnitzel?
He probably likes schnitzel. But the thing is he's losing weight a lot now. So I don't think he
vegan
would eat
schnitzel.
Maybe a vegan schnitzel or a salad or something. Yeah.
Salad schnitzel.
Salad schnitzel. Yeah.
Would you say after eating the salad and the schnitzel? No, I'm just kidding. Would you? Would you say there is like this one thing where you say this would change society altogether? Like going a little bit more broad, like not just crypto, maybe AI. Is there something technological where you say, if this comes in the next, let's say, 10 years, this will change everything? Like society will change and we will not be the same anymore.
Yes, I think that technology revolution itself, there's the true value, what will impact us in the future, and not only the price situation we have nowadays. AI will change society and business models. It's literally like you have to teach the whole world to use the internet right now, the new internet.
Well said.
That's like the first time. And I mean, suddenly you can code entire websites in just a few weeks, analyze bugs within hours. And that's only the beginning. I think that maybe in the next 5 years, maybe early, because it's such a quick velocity we have now, even more people can do things with AI. More about just chatting with the bot. So the optimization and the possibilities are growing. It will explode. On the other side, we will have, I would say, like a contrast program that people will favor a human resources in that way. So creativity will rise. Will be more worth, for example, manual things to do with your hands will get more valued. And I think we have these two parallel developments. More human resources on the one side and more productivity through automatization. And it will change society. The people who don't prepare for these business models will lose gains, and it is not only a stock market. It's really a shift.
Agree.
For sure. What's so interesting with AI is that AI is like bound to everything right now. It's not just AI is just existing for itself and it increases productivity. What you see if you look into AI and you research a little bit about it, you find out that AI is connected to everything. It's connected to crypto through payments, for example, agentic payments, and then it's connected to biology, for example, in terms of research, and then it's connected to math because you can solve math problems that weren't ever able to solve. And then it's also connected to creativity as well in some sense, but I think in this sense, in a good way. For example, if you do music production, you can now use AI to do new and more modern synth, for example. You can create more cool sounds that weren't possible to create before, because you are obviously not an engineer, so you maybe don't know how to create new sounds. But now with AI, everything, like the barrier to entry to everything gets a lot lower. I'm just a little bit fearful that the barrier gets so low that the quality of everything it's getting lower. Like this, what is called Slop, right? AI Slop, you see it on X all the time. This is something I fear.
But that's only that's a real good point you say, because if we look further, that will lead to the thing that we will more and more have big data. Volume is exploding and rising. That's the only reason why artificial intelligence is now as productive as it is now. It's the big data. If the big data is failing and the quality, because of the explosion of the big data volume, is exploding. So we have the problem that we have to qualify the big data. And there it will come. I think that blockchain technology will help AI to shape the future and for these business models, like trust layers, layers where agents have a platform to communicate. So I think this will be a big problem. If the quality is losing, you have of the other side, okay, how can you create new models, new criteria to say, okay, this is qualified data, this is a good data. And that's really important for us because we will have to trust AI sometime.
Grog, is this true? This is something
really strange.
I mean, this is happening all the time right now. Like, people are trusting AI a little bit too much, I would say, to a certain degree, where I say, okay, the moment I see something that is written with AI, I already assume it's just, it can't be right. At least it's superficially right, but mostly wrong in the details. Especially if you talk about technical stuff. Best example I always give is XRPL and hooks. If you ask AI about smart contracts, it will tell you that XRPL has hooks, so has smart contracts, which is simply not true. And there's no way to ask the AI or Grok, for example, and to ask it in a way that gives you a good answer out of the box. You have to be very precise with your prompt to really get an answer that is not slop. But then again, if you write your question so precisely that the answer is valuable, then you can just search it for yourself, right? Why take the effort to even search for it?
Yeah. And this is maybe the chance to create new jobs for the one side, and to educate more, to educate how to use the AI for qualified answers, because the models are now so that they want to pace with you, they want leading you. That could really mysterious in the future, because you could get, because it is a centralized model, actually what's dominating, it could be instrumentalized. We don't even know, because it's very subtle. So we have to care about what we're asking the AI, but it's really necessary that we talk about that. How I say, Kevin, that it is not always the right answer what she's talking about, even if the AI says, "Hey, you are right." Are you really right? Oh, I just forgot.
Yeah.
Thank you for remembering me.
I lost the context. True. Steffi, to wrap this up, one last question that I'm really excited to hear from you is, what is your most beloved coin and why is it XRP?
Why XRP is my most loved coin?
No, what is your beloved coin? I was just joking. What is your most beloved coin? And my joke was basic. Oh, I have to explain the joke, so it's not funny anymore.
No. Sorry.
It's true German humor.
Yeah. It's on the low.
We are very, very, we don't have humor.
Exactly.
That's true.
Not even dark humor. So we want to ask
everyone
know everything, because and then we decide and want to make it a perfect answer. So, I think I still have my favorites like XRP. I also have some more favorites, because I would say I'm like a general doctor for crypto. I'm interested and fascinated in so many things in crypto that it would be for me to just boring to have just only one coin on my mind, because it's development. It's the whole travel for the future. But anyway, if I have to name one coin, it would be XRP, because it is the thing that I have they have the utility for the future, and the utility what is happening right now. It's designed from the beginning just for this use case to be used. How is the XRP ledger is used? It's liquidity, it's the structure for settlements, it's the possibilities in the future that as it is working for you in this strong utility with the banking infrastructure. And this is what I think that XRP will be used in the future. Yes. Besides this, I would keep an eye on Quant maybe. They're currently working on staking in the testnet phase. Very, very interesting because they're also working with the Bank of England. Similar narrative like XRP, but they don't have a ledger because they're agnostic blockchain. That's very interesting. I love interoperable themes and infrastructure. So, yeah.
What is Bitcoin for you?
What is Bitcoin for me? Bitcoin is for me... it's the hard monetary asset. It's like, I would not say it's the digital gold. It's a simple way to explain how you can use Bitcoin. It's more than that. It's the story about monetary scarcity in the future, because commodity is also there's a hard cap, and Bitcoin is something with the decentralization that you can't control, and this will also always profit if the system actually with fiat and inflation and political structure will fail. And so that's the thing why Bitcoin is very interesting also to keep an eye, because it's not the thing that it will replace that some icon will replace Bitcoin. It is the thing that it's I would say it will be a separate market in the future. I think there will be separate markets in the future that you have them everything about Bitcoin, commodity, scarcity, like the gold market. And you also will have the crypto market, altcoins, utility, strong utility future, infrastructure for finance, supply chain, healthcare, whatever. And so this will be the perfect complementary investment case for me.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfectly said, Steffi. Thank you, Steffi. Thank you, Vet, for taking the time. And
appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for listening today. And I hope we see each other again in the future to talk more about XRP and maybe Quant and all the other coins that exist out there, and also about maybe the future of AI. So keep an eye on us and see you next time, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.